Hello everyone, this is Zeeebo and welcome back to today's video. So yesterday I didn't release the Snow Stomper video for Mikola because I tried multiple runs with her, but I just wasn't able to break that 47 build mark that was set by Tinker as well as my friend over here. So I figured Mikola might not be the best unit, right? She might not be able to give you the best damage because I think one issue with Mikola in Snow Stomper is that her ultimate comes out after the very first global silence, so it is a little bit waste of her buff potential during that whole period where she just gets silenced with her full energy during the silence ability of Snow Stomper. So that's one thing which I realized that sort of slowed her down. If she wasn't silenced before the first ultimate, she would have a much longer ultimate duration because her ultimate can be permanent as long as you have control of the field if you have Mythic Blast, which is definitely doable. But the thing is, because she gets silenced, she loses like I think 10 to 15 seconds worth of buff from like the other teammates, which makes it such that you lose a little bit of damage. So if she was able to cast her ultimate before that, right, then she would have definitely pushed me to my best records and she probably would see some use in the top teams over here. So based on my testing, I think she's good. My testing with her was about 45 build, 44 build, but I just wasn't able to break the 47 build mark. So I think personally she's good, but she's not like, you know, must have best kind of unit there. So that's for Mikola and Snow Stomper, but I'll still be experimenting in the next few days once I get the next cycle for Snow Stomper, and if I do find a team that sort of breaks the record, I'll still share with you guys. Okay, so that's for Snow Stomper, and because I also do intend to share all the meta team setups for the different bosses in the next few days, so stay tuned for that as well. Okay, so for today we are going to talk about Lone Gaze. So Lone Gaze right here, right, the previous best team without Mikola was this team over here, which was 46 build. Now with Mikola's addition, right, myself was able to beat the 52 build mark, although there's a little bit of RNG in terms of critting as well as my unit surviving, because there was a very slither of health that one of my units survived with for me to do this amount of damage. But for this boss itself, Mikola was able to push me beyond my best by a few billion damage, which means that this unit is super duper good, and to nobody's surprise, because she works so well with Fresto as well as Shakir frontlining together, that I think any boss that you can use these three units together is just insane. And to top it off, right, you're gonna send in Smokey with Reyna because you want to protect Smokey from dying so that he continuously buff the team as well as provide the heal. Because for this boss itself, right, the boss will gain damage over time for all the bosses, but for Lone Gaze he hit particularly hard. So if you only have Mikola as the only support, and if your Smokey dies too early, you're not going to survive too long to max out your damage. Therefore, you're sending in Reyna, and then that will protect Smokey better, and then he will be able to buff the team, do damage, as well as keep the sustain going together with Mikola. So I will actually showcase my best damage run, but right here I'm going to run into my team setup for this boss. So I used up like 11 attempts. Let's start. Okay, so the arrangement is as such. We are going to send in Smokey, right, to give Smokey the damage reduction, to protect him better, to allow Smokey to sustain the whole battle. Right, we are sending in Mikola in the middle because this will centralize her buff, which will give us better coverage for all the units. And then we are using Shakir for the buff as well as the damage, Fresto as a frontliner as well as the damage as well as the buffer. So we are putting Reyna behind the illusion for that damage reduction buff, so Reyna survives a little bit better. Okay, so without further ado, let's start the battle. We're just going to go at 3 times because I think you guys probably have seen this team setup before in the other bosses, and you guys can see the aura stacking going on between Mikola as well as Shakir right there. So in this case, Reyna will be isolated, like Reyna is kept at the back where you will be sniped off by the Wolf's ultimate eventually, but it's fine because as long as you have Lupin Aura, you have Smokey, you have Mikola in the front line, the 4 units will be able to survive throughout if they are built well enough. So this is how I'm able to survive. As you guys can see, okay, unfortunately Mikola died, so I lost like some precious buff there. So there is a little bit of RNG with regards to like who the boss pounds and stuff, but turns out the best team setup, right, is a team that relies on a bunch of buffs as well as aura stacking. So the other variant is obviously using Scalita. So Scalita will be, I'll say, like a little bit more RNG based in a sense, because that way Smokey will die, but then you have like 4 frontliner power without that heal from Smokey. So I'm gonna run through Showmaker's replay, and then I'm gonna run through my own replay to show you guys the power as well as those RNG factors to consider. So right here we are putting Smokey in the front line, we are giving the energy regen for Shakir for him to transform more consistently, and then we are giving damage reduction to Mikola to keep her alive throughout the battle. So in this case, right, Smokey will be the target for the ultimate at the back line, so that's where Smokey will die off, and then you lose a little bit of buff and sustain, but in exchange you do get Skalita, who is a much better damage dealer, as well as a buffer with that seasonal skill, right? So I think it's called Heart of Unity. So that's the frontlining power. Okay, you guys can see your frontliners just gets a lot of like damage reduction, protection, as well as haste from the 2 aura units, which makes them a lot tankier, right? So this is from Showmaker. Now let's showcase my own replay where I was able to RNG and luck out for Reina. So I think Skalita team will be more consistent in terms of damage, because I have also tried the Skalita team, but for Reina's team, for example, this run itself, depending on where your Shakir repositions, depending on where your Mikola repositions, if one of your units is able to luck out and survive a little bit longer, that's where you get like the higher damage range for this team. Okay, so later on I will showcase the Skalita team with my own account to show you guys the difference. I think Skalita team is also fine if you don't have Reina, but I think for most people it should still be Reina first, so you can definitely use Reina. If you don't have Fresto, then you use both Skalita and Reina if you have them. If not, Torrent is also a good unit. Just remember to protect Torrent, just remember to protect like either Mikola or Shakir with Torrent if you have your Torrent and Mythic Plus. Okay, so this is my damage range, as you guys can see. So Fresto was able to be supercharged by Shakir as well as Mikola, which is just insane. Then we are able to protect Smokey long enough for him to heal this much as well as do this much damage, which is quite impressive. So that's for this meta team. And then right, we have my friend's team over here. So I think this team, I tried it with Quick Blitz spell. If you have the stats like my friend over here, if you're a Megalodon and you have the wailing power on your team, then you can definitely try this. So this one I think is a little bit tankier, because Quick Blitz spell gives a lot more stats the higher level you go. So his is at level 29, and as you guys can see, he has all his units at Paragon 4 with a lot of stars, so his units are a little bit tankier to last a little bit longer, to sort of do more damage. So this, I'll say it's the higher range. Skalita might be able to do more if Skalita crits on the ultimate, so let's just try Skalita team on my account to see whether or not I'm able to break the damage range. So right here, we're gonna put Mikola in the damage reduction, gonna put Skalita over here, maybe behind Shakir. Yeah, we kind of want Shakir to transform as consistently as possible. So this way, right, Smokey's aura is able to cover like basically the whole team, but at the same time, right, if you put Smokey here, he'll be isolated, which I talked about just now. So then you have to rely on your frontliners to hit as hard as possible after Smokey died. Yeah, okay, so that's for this team. I think, yeah, Smokey's gonna die here, and then we have like the 4 frontliner just hammering the boss. Pum 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 pum. Okay, all of them are still alive because of the 2 buffs from Shakir and Mikola with my evocation spell buff. Okay, so right here we are able to hit 50.9 build, so about 51 build. So I think this team is consistent in terms of the damage range, but it wasn't able to break my personal record. So I think to each their own. If you find like you like this consistency more, I think this team will give you this amount of damage if you have the same stats as I do. And if you don't have Skalita, then just use Reina. I think Reina has a higher chance to hit a higher pick, just a little bit min-maxing in terms of the damage output. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Just a simple showcase of the best team with Mikola right now. Thank you very much for watching. Do remember to like and subscribe as usual. See you guys again in my next video. Bye guys.